Attention, students of ICC Class 9 and 10 and Intermediate First Year. Do subscribe to Study with Sudhir YouTube channel where we cover English literature, history, civics, geography, biology and English grammar and many important motivational videos too. Don't forget to click on the bell icon so that you can get regular updates.
Hello and welcome to Study with Sudhir, your one-stop shop, your digital classroom where we teach subjects like English, history, civics, geography and biology for ICSE class 9 and 10 students and also English for the Telangana intermediate students. Today we are going to be looking at history and an important chapter, the major agencies of the United Nations. We've already covered the chapter of the United Nations. One point that was missed out there is that the term United Nations was first used by President Roosevelt of the USA and he used it in the Washington Declaration on the 1st of January 1942. So a small bit of information that may just come in handy when you're attempting your answer. So President Roosevelt using the term United Nations for the first time, even though at that time the League of Nations was still pretty much in vogue, even though it had kind of proved to be a major disaster. So United Nations जो term था उसका पहली बार उपयोग किया प्रेसिडेंट रूसवेल्ट जो कि अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपति थे 1942 में. तो आज हम पढ़ेंगे यूनाइटेड नेशंस की जो विभिन्न एजेंसीज हैं जो कि कई क्षेत्रों में काम करते हैं, काफी महत्वपूर्ण काम करते हैं, जैसे कि WHO, यूनिसेफ और यूनेस्को. ये तीन प्रमुख वहाँ के जो आउटफिट्स हैं, ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं which actually play a major role whether it's in the field of health or education or culture all around the country. So जो UN जो कि उसका जनरल असेंबली और सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल और इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस एक तरह से एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एंड विद द मेजर एम ऑफ प्रमोटिंग पीस एंड सिक्योरिटी इन द वर्ल्ड इज कंसर्न, दैट इज वन पार्ट ऑफ द यूएन. बट ये जो तीन जो डिफरेंट एजेंसीज हैं वे भी काफी महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाती हैं पूरे विश्व में. तो आज हम इन तीन एजेंसीज के बारे में पढ़ेंगे. सो द फर्स्ट वन, the basic idea is to work for the social and economic development of the developing countries. That's what the major aim was when it first started. So we'll first start with UNICEF, which इसका की full form है United Nations Children's Fund. इसका initial form था हालांकि UNICEF को अगर हम पूरी तरह से expand करें तो उसका पूरा expansion है United Nations International Children's इमरजेंसी फंड, जिसकी वजह से यूनिसेफ आता है. लेकिन उसके बाद में थोड़ा शॉर्टन करके यूनाइटेड नेशंस चिल्ड्रंस फंड कर दिया, लेकिन अभी भी जो एक्रोनिम है यूनिसेफ उसको ही उपयोग में लिया जाता है. तो इसका क्रिएशन हुआ यूएन जनरल असेंबली के द्वारा 1946 में, जब उनका पहला सेशन हुआ यूनाइटेड नेशंस जनरल असेंबली का न्यूयॉर्क में. एंड द बेसिक आइडिया वाज टू हेल्प द इमरजेंसी नीड्स ऑफ चिल्ड्रन इन पोस्ट वॉर यूरोप. तो अगर आप देखें द मैंडेट काफी लिमिटेड था. पोस्ट वॉर यूरोप में 1945 के बाद काफी एक तरह से उथल पुथल हुई और जिस तरह का जो सिचुएशन था दैट वाज नॉट वेरी गुड एंड दे वांटेड टू कंसंट्रेट ऑन द फ्यूचर एंड द वेल-बीइंग ऑफ चिल्ड्रन इन पोस्ट वॉर यूरोप इमीडिएटली आफ्टर द सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर. सो दैट वाज द लिमिटेड मैंडेट एट द बिगिनिंग, बट लेटर ऑन इट वाज एक्सपैंडेड टू टॉक अबाउट चिल्ड्रन इन ऑल द कंट्रीज अराउंड द वर्ल्ड. And that happened in 1950. After 4 years, its program was extended to provide long-range benefits to children of all developing countries. So, पूरे विश्व के जितने भी बच्चे हैं उनकी देखभाल के लिए, उनके फ्यूचर को सिक्योर करने के लिए यूनिसेफ का मैंडेट बनाया गया. एंड it is governed by a 36-member executive board which kind of reviews all the UNICEF activities. Now UNICEF ka headquarters, like the United Nations, it is in New York and it has its offices in about 200 different countries. How does it generate funds? It generates funds through contributions by member countries. That is very important. Donations made by different agencies and also through the sale of greeting cards. Now, if till a few years back the greeting cards was a way to kind of extend greetings over Christmas, over New Year or any other festival. Now in this online world that has reduced to a large extent, but otherwise a large part of their actual revenue used to come from the sale of greeting cards, which UNICEF used to actually specialize in. At one time they used to generate funds of over $100 million basically through the sale of these greeting cards all over the world. Basically it will use paintings made by different artists and use that as on the cover of the greeting card to be bought by people to send to their near and dear ones during New Year's Eve or over Christmas. The main objective of the UNICEF का main जो objective है, main aim क्या है, उसका aim है to look after children's welfare in the developing countries. As we have already said, initially post war यूरोप में था, उसके बाद पूरे विश्व के बच्चों की देखभाल के लिए उसकी भूमिका को और expand किया गया. And its basic areas is in the maternal and child health, that is both children as well as the mother health, nutrition and immunization. Immunization against various, to take care against various diseases. So it takes care of the functions are, number one, taking care of the protection of children in respect of their survival, health and well-being. And this is done in cooperation with individuals, civic groups, NGOs, governments and also people in the private sector. Every company has something called the CSR activity, in which they, as part of their corporate social responsibility, CSR, they would actually also partner with various NGOs to do something for the society, for children or for mothers or for any other field as part of their what is called their CSR activity. It also assists governments to plan, develop and extend community-based services in the fields of maternal and child health, nutrition, clean water and sanitation. So this is another very important aspect of UNICEF's activities, that they try to involve the community. पूरे community को involve करने की कोशिश करते हैं और उसके साथ साथ sanitation, ताकि जो घर के आसपास का जो area है वो साफ सुथरा रहे, उसके साथ साथ immunization के लिए, nutrition के लिए, clean water और basically बच्चे और जच्चे दोनों की health के लिए, माँ और बच्चे दोनों की health के लिए एक तरह से काम करने की कोशिश करते हैं. तीसरा, it provides help to children and mothers in emergencies arising out of natural calamities, civil strifes and epidemics. This is a very important point, क्योंकि जब भी कोई natural calamity होती है, चाहे वो बाढ़ हो, चाहे वो earthquake हो, भूकंप हो या किसी तरह का war break out हो जाए, तो उसमें first casualties generally are those of women and small children. So UNICEF's mandate is also to take care of children and women, their mothers, in times of either natural calamities or civil strifes. In fact, आपके English के syllabus में there is a poem called After Blenheim. तो उसमें आपने देखा होगा कि how the grandfather is also talking about the war, if you recall, and he's telling it to the two grandchildren, and one of the things that he talks about is about how a lot of children and mothers had got affected as a result of that particular war which had taken place. So I'm just trying to make the connect with what's the mandate of the UNICEF and how it could have actually played a role in a war situation like that. It makes effort to prevent diseases like tuberculosis, malaria, eye diseases, skin diseases. So against diseases also, it has a mandate to take care with the help of immunization, with the help of providing medical aid in order to ensure that children are kept safe against these kind of diseases, especially like malaria and tuberculosis and various other skin diseases which young children get. Now, the next we come to the World Health Organization, the WHO, which is another important arm of the United Nations in order to take care of the health aspect of people all over the country. While UNICEF is focusing especially on children and mothers, World Health Organization का mandate है सबकी स्वास्थ्य की देखभाल करने का मैंडेट WHO के पास है. तो अभी भी अगर आप जब भी किसी भी डेवलपिंग नेशन की बात करें या इवन डेवलप्ड कंट्री की बात करें, तो एक तरह से जो बेंचमार्क रहता है वो होता है कि WHO का स्टैंडर्ड क्या है. तो WHO का स्टैंडर्ड के अनुसार किसी भी कंट्री के जो हेल्थ पैरामीटर्स को नापा जाता है. सो WHO in that sense is like the standard benchmark which is very very important for any country developing or developed to actually follow. It was formed on the 7th of April 1948, that is 3 years after, almost 2.5 years after the United Nations came into existence, and which is why April 7th, the day it was formed, is celebrated as World Health Day all over the world. Now its objective was to have the highest possible level of health of all people. Highest possible level of health, because why the word possible is important, because कई कंट्रीज में जिस तरह की जो सुविधाएं हैं, जिस तरह के जो कंडीशंस हैं, जिस तरह के सर्कमस्टांसेस हैं, दैट मे नॉट बी 100% परफेक्ट कंडीशंस। तो वहां पे होगा कि ओके इस लेवल तक अगर स्वास्थ्य रहे सो वी आर ओके विद इट, इस लेवल का मोर्टेलिटी रेट रहे, इस तरह का इन्फेंट मोर्टेलिटी रेट रहे, मैटरनल मोर्टेलिटी रेट रहे तो ठीक रहेगा। तो हर जो इंडिया का है दैट विल नॉट बी द सेम इन से बर्मा और इट विल नॉट बी द सेम इन से फ्रांस। सो एवरी कंट्री विल हैव डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ बेंचमार्क्स एंड WHO ये डिसाइड करता है। सो विच इज व्हाई द मैंडेट इज दैट to attainment of the highest possible level of health of all people, and of course the effort is always to improve over a period of time. Health is defined in the WHO's constitution as a state of complete well-being and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So the absence of disease is not just saying that okay I am healthy, you're also talking of a very holistic way of health wherein everything is taken care of, from the general well-being to also things like sanitation etc., in order to ensure that everybody is healthy in the truest form of the word. And these days it's also been expanded to include even things like mental health, that people also should not be getting into depression and stuff like that. So a very holistic way of looking at the health of an individual. The headquarters of WHO are in Geneva in Switzerland. So UNICEF का यूनाइटेड नेशंस की तरह न्यूयॉर्क में है यूएसए में, लेकिन इसका स्विट्जरलैंड में जिनीवा में WHO का हेडक्वार्टर्स है। एंड इट्स फंक्शंस आर प्राइमरली एज आई सेड टू हेल्प द कंट्रीज टू इंप्रूव देयर हेल्थ सिस्टम, कि कंट्रीज की देशों की सहायता करें कि वे अपने जो स्वास्थ्य का जो सिस्टम है उसमें बेहतरी करें। और ये कैसे हो सकता है कि एक तरह से जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सिस्टम है उसको और एक तरह से सटीक बनाया जाए, उसको स्ट्रेंथन किया जाए, स्पेशली इन टर्म्स ऑफ मैन पावर, trained manpower, institutions and services for the individual as well as for the entire community. तो इंडिविजुअल को भी देखते हैं, पूरे समुदाय को भी देखते हैं, और ये एक तरह से फोकस किया जाता है जो ट्रेन्ड मैन पावर है, क्वालिटी मैन पावर है, जो पूरे कम्युनिटी को देखता है और एक तरह से इंस्टीट्यूशंस को एस्टैब्लिश करने में भी वह सहायता करता है, either in terms of monetary aid and also in terms of training. For instance, there are a whole lot of institutions which take care of say immunology, virology, जहाँ पे टेस्ट होते हैं। तो इन सब की जो एस्टैब्लिश करने के बाद ट्रेन मैन पावर की जरूरत होती है, उसमें भी WHO एक तरह से कोलैबोरेशन करता है कई सारे देशों और शहरों के साथ। इट गिव्स इंपॉर्टेंट ड्रग्स नीडेड फॉर मेडिकल केयर। सो ड्रग्स जहाँ से आते हैं, अगर बाई चांस किसी एक देश में किसी एक पर्टिकुलर ड्रग की शॉर्टेज हो तो वे WHO के थ्रू दे विल ट्राई टू एंश्योर दैट दोज ड्रग्स आर मेड अवेलेबल फॉर द पीपल इन दैट पर्टिकुलर कंट्री और स्टेट और सिटी। It organizes conferences, seminars and training programs to help the community health workers. It also aims at fighting diseases, as we already mentioned that the focus of both UNICEF and WHO, and much more WHO, is to fight against diseases because they want to attain the highest possible level of health of the entire community as well as the individual. Malaria eradication program, for instance, is one of the top focus programs as far as the World Health Organization is concerned. It also defines standards for the strength and purity of medicines, including biological products. So even for the medicines, it's the WHO which decides that this is the level of standards which should be attained, and that remains the benchmark for any kind of medicines which are provided in any country around the world. And it also takes care, especially when it comes to infants and young children, it takes care of diseases like diarrhea etc., because diarrhea etc. can almost be a killer disease if not controlled in time. And the achievements of WHO over a period of time. Also, this logo of WHO is something which you need to take care of, because even that can come as a short question as to whose logo is this and what are the aims and functions of this particular organization. So you will be tested on two parameters. One, to be able to identify the logo. We have already shown you the logo of United Nations, UNICEF and now WHO. So you should be able to distinguish between the different logos. UNICEF ka is with the mother and child, and WHO is showing the entire world, and again some kind of leaves to kind of indicate a very holistic and a very healthy kind of life. The achievements of WHO which are given in a box are something which you should take care of. Note about how they have actually improved on the health parameters over a period of time. And India, for instance, has been declared as a polio-free country. Smallpox has been eradicated. Leprosy has been better controlled. Cholera and plague are very, very rare occurrences. They do not happen in any part of India today. And fewer new cases of HIV. HIV has been a major killer disease which has caught the WHO's attention, and they have been trying very hard to ensure that they kind of take care of that. And this is not part of the box, but there have been many new viruses which have been discovered. For instance, the Nipah virus which happened in the state of Kerala. So WHO is always involved with the local state governments and also the central government to ensure that people are kept as safe and healthy as possible. The third, we come to the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, which in short the acronym is UNESCO. Educational, Scientific and Cultural. So the three words are actually explanatory, self-explanatory, that they take care of education, they take care of culture, as also in the field of science. UNESCO का logo, it says UNESCO, so that's highly unlikely to be asked to you as a question. So जहाँ तक logos का सवाल है, United Nations का logo, UNICEF का logo और WHO का logo, you should be able to distinguish and be able to identify correctly. That's very, very important. UNESCO was formed in November 1946. So 1945, 1948 was WHO and 1946 was UNESCO, I beg your pardon. The main objective of UNESCO is to contribute to the peace and security in the world by promoting collaboration among nations through education, science, culture and communication. So that is the main aim of UNESCO, promoting collaboration among nations through education, science, culture and communication. This is pretty much, if you know the expanded form of UNESCO, you'll be able to understand what is the main aim of UNESCO in any case. UNESCO ka headquarters is in Paris. So New York, UNICEF, WHO, Geneva and UNESCO is in Paris in France. And the main aims of that, first in the field of education, which is the removal of illiteracy. Now illiteracy is a major problem in most developing countries, and that is where, especially in Asia and Africa, that's where the major focus of UNESCO's programs are, to remove illiteracy by not just taking care of normal schooling, but also taking care of things like programs like adult literacy, डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन, ताकि इवन इफ पीपल अगर वह स्कूल नहीं जा पाए फिर भी वह डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन प्रोग्राम्स की तरफ से, ओपन यूनिवर्सिटीज़ की तरफ से अपने आप को फिर से एजुकेट कर पाएँ. और इसके साथ साथ एडल्ट एजुकेशन क्लासेस पर भी खास तौर से इसे एम्फोसिस किया जाता है. एम्फोसिस ऑल्सो इन एजुकेशन ऑफ विमेन एंड गर्ल्स एंड फाइनेंशियल असिस्टेंस फॉर दोज हु आर डिसेबल्ड, दैट दे आर ऑल्सो एक्चुअली एबल टू एजुकेट themselves. And the emphasis is also on science education, inculcating and developing a scientific temper among children in order to be able to do something very different in terms of innovations or scientific experiments or research. दूसरी बात, जहाँ तक साइंटिफिक एक्टिविटीज़ की बात है, इट प्रमोट्स बेसिक रिसर्च इन फील्ड्स लाइक जियोलॉजी, मैथमेटिक्स, फिजिक्स एंड ओशियोनोग्राफी. It also finances engineering and technology schemes in a number of developing countries. जहाँ तक communication का सवाल है, that comes next. It also sets up regional networks, train technicians and deals with both hardware and software aspects of organizations. Informatics. So what happens is that you could be asked in the exam the aims and functions. What does UNICEF do? What does WHO do? And what does UNESCO do? So you need to know at least 2-3 functions of each of these organizations in order to be able to explain that this is what the aim and this thing. It may seem like a bit of a mugging up kind of an exercise for you, but if you are able to understand through the acronym what is the basic aim and able to kind of break it down कि आज की दुनिया में what its role is, you will not find it such a very surmountable task. So don't try to remember each of the words like that, but remember the keywords and use that as part of your own language in the answer, and that should be good enough. Preservation of cultural heritage, that's another big aim of UNESCO. So world inheritance of maps, of monuments, rare manuscripts, that's another area of interest as far as UNESCO is concerned in the field of culture. It also gives encouragement to artistic creations in literature and fine arts. So culture में fine arts, manuscripts, monuments, all these things come as part of the interest as far as the UNESCO is concerned. So an organization like, say, the Archaeological Survey of India, the organization that looks after rare manuscripts in India, they will all be collaborating with UNESCO so that you have something which looks as India and also places it in the context of the world. That is the role that UNESCO plays, collaborating with individual institutions within each country. And it pays attention towards the cultural development through the medium of films. Films is another area, mass media, through which they try to ensure that more and more people are educated as far as the cultural sphere is concerned. And India has always had an association with UNESCO. For instance, UNESCO provides funds and expertise for the protection of historical monuments and sites like the Taj Mahal, for instance. India has been a member of UNESCO, and also it kind of was part with the various sub-commissions focusing on education, social sciences, culture and communication. So these are the three major organizations which you need to know: UNICEF, WHO and UNESCO. Know the aims and functions, knows on what the logos are looking like and why they were established and when they were established and where are they headquarters. So these are the 5 different aspects जो कि आपको याद रखने होंगे, because UNICEF के साथ साथ UNESCO, WHO, UNICEF पे normally you do get at least a 2-mark question. So you need to, in order to score those 2 marks, it's important. It's a very small chapter and you should be able to do justice to it. It's not something very complicated, or it's not something which you need to kind of fret too much about in order to remember. So that's it as far as this chapter is concerned. If you have any doubts, do write in the comment section. I would be more than happy to reply to you. And we have kind of covered both the United Nations as well as the different arms and the 3 organs of the United Nations. Thank you very much for watching.